Picture the scene. You're all dressed up for an evening at the theatre, but as you settle into your seat and the lights dim, something catches your eye. You strain to see the figure clearer, but as it comes into focus, what you see is the stuff of nightmares. A woman is staring back at you menacingly, her beauty now disfigured into a burnt, sneering grin. Welcome back, dissectors, to another haunting episode. In the French Quarter of downtown Charleston, South Carolina, you will come across a stunning old theatre, one that many believe is the most haunted building in the area. Its name is the Dock Street Theatre, a place that has seen many colourful people pass through its doors and perform on its stage. From the spirit of a prostitute named Nettie, who lived a tragic life and ultimately death, to the ghost of a man called Junius Booth, who had a son that became quite infamous. So let's briefly explore the dark history of this old theatre and the ghosts said to still call it home. Now, the original Dock Street Theatre opened in 1736 and was the first theatre in America. But sadly, as with many buildings in the area at the time, the Great Fire of 1740 completely destroyed it. Then, rebirth came about in 1809 as Mr. and Mrs. Alexander Calder decided to build a hotel on the ruined grounds, calling it Planters Hotel after a family that used to stay there often during the horse racing season. Many notable people used to work at the hotel, from Naval Civil War hero and then US Congressman Robert Small, who was a waiter at the hotel. Then you had an English stage actor named Junius Brutus Booth, who loved to perform here with his theatre troupe. Junius was the father of Edwin and John Wilkes Booth, both actors, but one grew up to be known as the killer of Abraham Lincoln, who was shot in the back of his head, dying the next day. But it does seem that being hot-headed ran in the family. You see, Junius had a serious argument with the then manager of the hotel, and it got so heated he nearly killed the man. Now, he never died here, but it was a place he loved so much in life, many believe he couldn't stay away even in death, and his spirit has been recognised by many. Seen walking around the stage as if rehearsing lines or reliving past performances. He will mostly appear when the lights are dim towards the end of the night, but he can also be found in other areas of the building too, with guests becoming alarmed as he makes his presence known in more physical ways. Junius has been known to breathe down people's necks and in some cases trace his fingers there too. I bet that experience really gives you shivers. Sadly, after the American Civil War, the hotel was in a pretty bad state of disrepair. After the 1886 earthquake, well, the damage was excessive and the poor building was left to decay for almost 50 years. During the Great Depression, the building became a Works Progress Administration project, creating many jobs for the local community. Around this time also, it started to transform back into a theatre and to honour its past, kept the name Dock Street Theatre, opening its doors on November 26, 1937. Since reopening, the theatre has been hugely successful, but ghostly rumours started to become more and more frequent after new renovation work was carried out in 2010. Now, there are said to be 3 ghosts haunting the Dock Street Theatre, but to be honest, there really could be more. There is the spirit of Junius Booth, who we've discussed, as well as an angry spirit named Nettie and a lady in white. Sadly, there's very little known about the lady in white spirit. No one knows whether she used to work at the hotel or theatre, but she appears melancholy as she slowly walks around the building. But the same can't be said for the other female spirit who haunts Dock Street Theatre. At 25 years old, Nettie was a beautiful young woman with her whole life ahead of her. But what she really wanted was to find a husband and a chance at a better life in the city. But due to her age, many successful men of the era considered her too old, preferring a teenage bride. Plus, it was also uncommon for people to marry beneath their class, and poor Nettie was a humble country girl. Eventually, Nettie worked as a clerk for a local church, gaining a wonderful working relationship with the priest. But she grew frustrated and wanted more out of life, a new challenge. So she decided to buy herself the most expensive dress she could with her savings, one that was an eye-catching red and designed to lure men to her. If she couldn't have their love, she'd find a way to gain their money. Nettie became a regular at the Planters Hotel, seducing men who were there for business or relaxation. The hotel staff didn't care, as during this period it was quite common practice for prostitutes to entertain customers. But while her life had become a bit more adventurous, Nettie still kept her faith and would always go to church each Sunday. Unfortunately, her reputation was becoming unavoidable amongst the locals, and many of the wives of her customers made their feelings of disgust known. And with the women folk getting pissed off, their husbands backed away from Nettie, leaving her with very little business. The final straw came when one evening another customer turned her down, and by now she had very little money to her name. Feeling consumed with frustration and anger, she walked up to the second floor balcony and started shouting disparaging remarks to the gathering crowd below. A thunderstorm was raging by this point, and her one friend, the local priest, tried desperately to calm Nettie down, but to no avail. After shouting, "You cannot save me," at the poor guy, a massive bolt of lightning struck her, killing her instantly. Over the years since her death, her spirit has been seen by visitors and staff plenty of times, always in her red dress. Described as being almost zombie-like in appearance due to her empty eyes and burnt flesh, she can be quite alarming to see. Theatre employees state that they see her spirit every day and over time have gotten used to her distressing features. Many even say that they feel sorry for her ghost, as she never found the happiness she craved so desperately, and ultimately her quest cost her her life. This really is an impressive old theatre and one rich in history. I feel so bad for poor Nettie and all the heartbreak that she felt in her life. Unfortunately, she doesn't seem to have found any peace yet, but maybe someday she will. Just as I hope the mysterious lady in white's identity is discovered, it could help her to move on. Junius, on the other hand, seems content to be in a place he loved all his life, surrounded by other performers. Is there a spirit story that tugged on your heartstrings? Is this a haunted location that you'd be interested in visiting yourself? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope this video finds you well, and remember, if the heat of the summer is not for you, don't worry, as Halloween season is fast approaching. Until next time, my friends, stay safe out there.